there we are. Our beautiful faces are on the screen once again, and it's time for me to read out the following. You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian, now free of wheezes at least, if not totally free of coughs. And on this episode, we're covering anime that aired the 2 weeks of the April 22nd to the 28th, and the April the 29th to May the 5th. That's May the 5th,
Yeah.
day after Star Wars Day. And we're going to do these show by show rather than week by week. So we'll start off with Uncle from Another World, episode 12. Names are important. That's what she said. And thanks to everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Goodbye. Good night, everybody.
Yes. So they got a job. They got to take care of what is the monster in episode 12 that they're sent to deal with? That turns out to be Mabel.
Fighting God, but yeah, I'm trying to think of what the initial problem is.
I'm just calling this phone like just blowing up the set of ruins and unleashing like the magic that was hidden within the land. You know, I'm against like the end game scenario here of actually, you got to like do the quests at the 3 locations to reveal like the hidden like fate of the world. And
yeah, it's the idea of like, don't worry about destroying this ancient temple. You'd have to have destroyed the other ancient temples to summon evil God, and it's just like, I've already done those.
Yes, but before we get to that, though, there's another plot. There's a plot which leads into that, which is they've got to defeat the Singing Beast. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he is a much smaller thing, because I think it's just like someone singing is like, that reminds me of the time I had to defeat the Singing Beast. And it's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. It's like, it was pretty cool until it turned out to be Mabel Vrabel in the woods, living as a... it's not even living... Like, it's not even a vagrant because she has a magic hood that makes her look like a sleeping dog, so animals won't attack her. It's just like
survivalist. Yeah.
Basically living as a wild animal in the woods is what she's doing. Yeah.
I wasn't fired. I quit. My story of sticking to it.
You're still going to kill her though initially, and then because that was the task.
Like, you're going to keep living in the woods, so I am tasked with killing the beast, and you have admitted just now to me to being the beast. So my job is to tick off that mission complete box. I do need to kill you, Mabel Vrabel.
You want that mission, want that reward,
You don't want that mission just hanging in the air for you,
So that convinces her to leave the forest and stop scaring everybody. And then they have a discussion.
Scary ice sculpture.
You should maybe take up being a bard, and then she learns a song from Uncle's homeland.
The song of my people.
Because I was hearing that, and I was just like, a Starlight Zone. But I did learn it was also for the crane machines, which is fun.
Yes. Naturally as well, they have like, no, all this is the end of the end credit seems on the nights into dreams. Like, well, okay. Very like a fairy tale, like great story attached to this. It's got a lot of meaning to me. And you hum it very well.
Yeah, because it's not words. It's a woman singing a bit tune basically. But it's nice, but it is obviously like he can fall asleep to it. It's like the calming song from Sonic 1 has put me to sleep with his general like kind of horrific expression, but it's very sweet. Which of these girls is he going to end up with? Who can say?
Yes, because we get a bit in modern day where Uncle discovers that he had got the name of the heroine in Dynamite Heady wrong.
And he's panicking.
Which then leads into the second half, which relates when Elf discovers him with Mabel, and they share their real names with each other, and it turns out that Elf has a very, very long, ridiculous fantasy name.
But the uncle decides to take a bit of her name out, as is the way in Japan and a lot of places. Take a bit of your very complicated name out. I'm going to shorten that because it's the word for green, which reminds me of your beautiful green eyes. And she's like, oh, fucking, all right, that's actually really, that works for me kind of thing. But, in the most endearing way possible. Yeah.
So yeah, and then we get to the stuff about him destroying these ruins to release this monster because and it does it deliberately because he was hoping that it would be able to open a portal back to his home world.
Hmm.
But then it possesses him. The hero and her two sidekicks show up, and everyone has to fight Uncle. They manage to free him, and then he summons the dragon so that the monster who is just like divine energy will have a physical form. So he summons the blaze dragon to give it a physical
The,
form, so that in the
the
final
dragon
episodes
will
they
absorb
can
all the
actually
godly
fight it.
energy. Yeah, and then you
Okay.
can. And they're thinking like, well, we should be able to manage this because, like, as the elf says in the next episode, is like, don't worry, it should be fine. The uncle defeated the blaze dragon the first time, and I defeated the uncle in the form of the blaze dragon. So we've both been through this. Even though it has god powers now, it should be all right.
Yeah, even though it's 10 times worse, so that's how our hero strategy going forward is. It's just like, no. Oh, I was going to give it a physical form and just hit it. I didn't think anything beyond that. Yeah, because if you get closer, it's going to mind control you, and it's like, if you get hit by the flame breath, it's now divine flame breath. It'll kill you instantly. So it's like, he's going to calm it down and say, no, I've done this 1,000 times in my favorite Sega RPG playing games. This is how you form a strategy. You get the final boss. It's all the cheap tactics.
I appreciate a couple of things. One, that they're able to have a very long conversation while the divine blaze dragon is now looking at them as like, I'm waiting for my turn to attack, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
and
also that the guy's watching, it's like the nephew's like, oh my god, this is great. I'm gonna go get snacks, take a bathroom break right before the big fantasy battle. I've been waiting for this.
Waiting months for him to get to this part of his rambling fucking story.
Yeah.
Also, forget Mabel. It turns out the fun God-feasting sword ain't shit. Actually, we don't need you at all for this. It's like, I don't need to do anything. Okay, well, lads, good luck. Away with you now. I don't need to be part of this. I can help out with you here. So good luck to me. But Fun said, no, you can do it, Mabel. Fine, I'll be the bait. I'll kite the boss.
So it ends up with Uncle and Elf flying into the sky and finishing the dragon off by about halfway through the episode. And then we get into more comedy where Elf thinks that she's shared this special moment flying with Uncle. And then, like, as she's discussing this, who's she discussing with was the hero, I think, at this point. And behind her back, he's giving the other two lads from the hero's party like wanting to have a go flying, and he's essentially just giving everybody a quick flying trip.
Woo!
He gives Mabel Rabel a fly because he thinks that. No, he gives the hero a fly
Alicia,
because Mabel Rabel.
Yeah.
Mabel makes it sound like it's like, oh, Alicia wants to go have a go as well, and he's like, all right, we could have a romantic moment. Here we go, and then the elf is starting giving her the death stare kind of thing. And then the lads are, we want to go too. Wee! Both up at once, like both up on Daddy's shoulders. Come on, here we go. It's very silly.
He's younger than them.
He's younger. Dear.
Then they get into like, why are we all calling him different names? And
yes.
And so he gives them their real name, which then further annoys the elf because she thought that was the special secret she had with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wolf
especially
Gunblood
because
sounds way cooler, though. I know. Thank you, God. I've been
he
trying to
essentially
do this.
double proposes to Mabel by going like, "Yeah, you were real help, Mabel. You were very brave, even though you were scared. So here's a second ring to put on top of your other ring. You can sell it. Like now you've extra. But the idea that it's just like, yeah, but at least we share like each other's secret names." And he's like, "Oh, by the way, my real name is this." It's like, all right, I guess I got nothing. Thanks, Uncle.
He's not like this, like a bad dude. He just says, no
social skills,
understanding or tact of anything going on around him, like because he's being nice for him. I just want to be nice to everybody, including the lads. They get upsies as well, like I just want anybody to feel left out. That's why I gave you all rings. I don't want anybody to feel left out. Like, don't want any hurt feelings here, and just shredding their egos and images and their fated destinies to shreds before their eyes is what I'm saying. But I've been living in this ice cave my entire fucking grown life, and you just come along and you fucking just wiped out my reason for fucking being. What the fuck do I do now? A series of jobs which I'm ill-suited for, or my attitude gets in the way.
And the hero of destiny finds out that she's actually not, and he's the actual hero of destiny. It's just like, does that mean I need to shack up with that guy? What's going on there? And yeah. So it's a satisfying comedic conclusion, but obviously for the nephew, it's just like, what the fuck? Is like, oh yeah, and then I adventured on my own for several years.
Well,
'cause
the other dramatic reveal is Elf discovers like how he was planning on trying to get back to Earth and attempts to destroy his means of getting
Yeah.
back to Earth.
Because he's planning on blowing a hole in reality with big enough magic power.
With a
and it
bigger
seems to be
dragon.
If I make a dragon so big that punching it into nothingness will punch a hole through reality. Yeah, it's a good plan. Is it?
But that's a story for another day.
Yes.
Anyways,
When the
and
comic
eventually,
comes
you know, a lot of happened. I got back here, but no, Uncle, no, come on, no. I figure I'm just starting to get to know you. You know, all this hidden life you've had, and I
So it's
saw
also
like,
the
at
girl
least
kind
one
of like,
cool
wait,
fantasy
how did?
title.
She's like, wait, how did you get back here then after all that? And he's like, no, don't skip to the end. We could get another season out of this. Come on, we could really milk this for all it's worth.
Let's go out and get dinner. You know, let's go enjoy the real world a little bit. It's like, yeah, that's fine. You know, isn't it great that we live in, you know, not a fantasy world? We can just go down the street and get some hot food. Anyways, that's a nice night even we had out. Hey, you let the memory spell on. What the fuck is going on here? What? What's they're showing me? Oh yeah, it's a time like they took away all my money and threw me in prison. What? But no, we gotta hear about this. Come on. It's like, oh, Uncle, he's got many a story to tell. Ha ha ha. And we'll see if we ever get any more of it because this was enough trouble to get out from start to finish to begin with.
Yeah. Although it does do a few shots of things it can hint. Is like, do you want to see this character dressed as a sexy Santa? You could, maybe, if they do more. Man.
Then we've got Detective Conan, the Culprit, Hanzawa, episode 12, the first target. He's found his man. He's following his man. His man goes into a warehouse where there's loads of people who are like preparing to help Kaito Kid. Could the Kaito Kid be his target? And then it plays out with the Kaito Kid doing a stunt. Over like a very
these are all like magicians helpers, and they all have like team hats and t-shirts and stuff. Which initially they're looking at Hanzawa, I was like, that guy's super suspect. Yeah, he's a bit sus. And he puts on one of the team hats. He's like, oh, he's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing a stunts involving reinforced glass across a street.
2 buildings.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, he's levitating in the air.
So, like, and it's always like, finally, my chance. I'm gonna get a big rock and smash this. Oh crap! It's reinforced glass. I guess that's.
Oh, you want to see it break, pretty baby? Well, just watch this, and then boom, it explodes. Oh, the glass is falling, but it turns into roses. It's like, oh my god, how do you do it? How is he still floating there? A magician never reveals his secrets. And he's gone.
And Hanzawa is enamored with him. Obviously, it's a pretty romantic thing.
That
but
was pretty cool what he did. But
also, that wasn't the guy I'm trying to kill. He just looks really like the guy I want to kill.
That monocle, you know, my dude doesn't wear a monocle on the top hat. You know, he isn't this fucking Arsene Lupin thing going on. No. That guy's a weird piece of shit. Fucking walking around. He's fucking kind of what? Yeah, no, it's kind of very kind of like a nerdy 2000 kind of new metal kind of fan. He's like the kind of garish patterns and the wallet chain. I suppose that's a kind of very opposite extreme of what Kaito Kid feed gentlemen seafood wear. Perfect disguise.
So I'll just have to stay in the city and track that guy down as he walks past other members of the Conan cast.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking he's probably is the guy he's looking for. God, I've forgotten Conan's actual fucking name.
Shinichi Kudo.
Shinichi, yes.
Shinichi. Is he looking for him? Because if that's the case, there's at least one other person who looks exactly like him.
I think it's Kaito Kid he's looking for. I think he's just an idiot. And
okay, I was just wondering, just like, are you just confused by the character design, that kind of thing, where a lot of them kind of look a little samey, that kind of thing. Yeah. Should be
You
fun.
don't realize, Hanzawa, you find a purpose for yourself beyond revenge. You moved away from home for the first time. You're living in a big city. You know, you've
got a
met some
dog!
friends. You've got a dog. You got a beloved from Pooch. You know, and you're finding your way in the world out there. You know, revenge isn't gonna be on it. But after you get your revenge, what are you gonna do, man? What's gonna happen to you?
Well, in this town, you're going to be caught by Conan and go to jail. But and also before you do that, you're going to be like, I've made a terrible mistake. I shouldn't have murdered those people. Which is, that's how it goes.
Then we got Tengoku Daimakyo, or Heavenly Delusion, episode 4, Cuckoo, and episode 5, Day of Fate. So episode 4, let's go look at a baby.
She is like Froppy because she's going to cling the walls like Froppy.
Yeah.
Yes.
They've just genetically made Froppy the most powerful superhero.
Well, have they?
It's just like, that character design is just like fun saying, oh, the person's got frog-like features. I've seen this way before Suyu and My Hero Academia. You know, she just kind of, I guess, popularized it, and this kind of have like just the same haircut even. Well, that's part of it too, with like the kappas and whatnot. Anyways, let's see this baby. Oh God, it's very eldritch. Let's put it that way.
And it is definitely. I mean, I guess if it wasn't fucking obvious, it's definitely related to those weird monsters, because instead of like she said, instead of a face, it has a weird painted on eye, kind of like those monsters have like a TV screen eye instead of a head. For a lot of them. So what? And the constant question is, what are they making in here? And also, what are these children? What are these fucking children?
What are they making?
And why is the computer in on it?
Yes, and why aren't the adults in on it? Because the adults, when they go and they detect an intruder in the baby room, they go in and they're like, "Why is there a shoe print on the wall?" And then
the guy doesn't notice later when he's just taking notes on the babies. It's like, what the fuck? Why is there a fucking? And when you want to ask the master computer, who is pregnant by the look of it, the master computer's like, I wouldn't know. I'm a computer. And she's like, "Oh, computer, you're so silly." And I was just like,
you erased them from the security camera footage, and you've like you sent them a false alarm to lead them all the way there, so the kids had time to go out to the vents again. Also, you're probably sending sexy pictures like amongst themselves to kind of so weird feelings about them, because you're just trying to fuck around and find out, aren't you?
It seems like that. I do like the kind of shots of the security room, and you see there's no one in the baby room, and then shot of the two trying to escape the baby room. And then you see the security camera clearly in the background. It's like, yeah, they should definitely be in frame. Like, it just presents everything as like, something's up. That's not right.
Yeah, and the adults. The other thing is when in episode 5, when one of the kids dies from the mysterious disease that killed the character we saw on the outside, and they go to cremate them and discover a mysterious object inside their body.
They had one kid that killed. This is the second kid to die. One killed themselves knowing that they had the disease, and they were just one who runs, inverted commas, the institution is very cut up about this. It's like, I can't believe we lost another kid. And this one was made so he wouldn't suffer any diseases. So it's especially weird that he would, like, and I was like, wait, you made a kid immune to all diseases and he died of a mysterious disease. That's not good. But yeah, they put him in the incinerator, and there's a bit left over, yeah.
Yes, and they don't know what that bit is.
It's like, we didn't put that there. What the fuck is that?
And meanwhile, parallel to this, we've got to fight a fish monster that there was a drawing of in the heaven side of the story. We go to this new town. We play some video games. We lose.
Get in trouble with like youths, I guess.
Get caught having a wank.
Yep.
That is a problem in the post-apocalypse.
We befriend some drug dealers because like out of all the industries that have been reestablished in the post-apocalypse now, like agriculture and and like mechanical machinery almost, and that you gotta have your fucking marijuana business. You gotta be running that weed across the lake around the country, like. And lucky we did, because we gave that fucking monster just dried him out, baked him up real good so we could finally kill it.
I like the idea where it's like, I was just going to lead him through these boxes of marijuana so all his liquid armor would be absorbed by the dry.
It felt very like a JoJo style like solution to a problem, was saying, as of course, again, read in the magazine in the doctor's waiting office, saying marijuana is known for its absorbing qualities.
Iraqi's just writing that down. It's like, excellent.
That's why it dries your mouth out when you smoke it. I see. So why if a creature that was almost entirely mouths, was exposed to marijuana, it would dry out completely, of course.
But yeah, I even like the bit with the first mate kind of going, it's like, hey, you ruined our marijuana. Fucking, we were bringing in. I mean, like, I assume not illegally at this stage because there is no government to make that illegal. But then the captain's like, hey, thanks for killing that fish monster because he would have ate us all otherwise. And your man's like, oh, I mean, thank you for destroying the fish monster and our marijuana crop. Yeah.
I think about those kids. They're all right. Yeah, that's what I think so too.
And then at the end of episode 5, we get a guy wanting a bodyguard because he needs to go and see the Immortalites. Because
I saw what you did with that giant monster on the ship, and I need to hire you for a job to protect me because I need to get this monster parrot I kept in a jar transplanted onto me to make me immortal. It's turned to gunk. Fucking
yes. I forgot. We haven't got refrigerators in the post-apocalypse. Damn it.
And this is before we've seen like there's this weird thing left from that person's body after they've been cremated. So it's like, is somebody is something, possibly the computer, but at the same time, they seem to be growing them. So are they making people from the monsters rather than the monsters being people?
Yeah, that's like, I think they're trying to make in heaven, they're trying to make a new kind of, this is just a guess, they're trying to make a new kind of human that, like, they tried to make one kid that was immune to all diseases. That'll be great in the post-apocalypse. But I died of a disease. I guess that didn't work out. But it's like the computer or someone is trying to make a new kind of life, which is these man-eaters, these monsters.
It's presumably one to be able to survive whatever cataclysm developed. Because there's also like the fucking Institute of fucking Overthrowing Civilization, or whatever it was called. They're going around. They're doing like, they're kind of like evil Senku from Dr. Stone. They're like going around and kidnapping all the best and brightest people in the world and making them work to try and rebuild civilization.
And a lot of people are kind of like, that's creepy and weird. Watch out for that. Like as he remembered his old Anarchy kind of telling him, it's just like, don't worry, as long as you're not exceptional, you won't get kidnapped, and you guys are dumb as shit, so nothing's gonna happen to you. You'll be 100% okay.
See, what I'm thinking is that, because then there's like, it'll kind of like, a crossfade then to the orphanage, the institute, like that, and I think, okay, so it's them, right? And say, I think, that could be something different altogether, actually. I'm not sure that they just line up one to one.
See, I'm half wondering if, like, whatever apocalypse fucking happened was caused by this institute, and this is actually all happening well beforehand, and that kid drawing weird monsters, and the computer just pins those onto the fridge and goes like, that's a great idea. I'll put a fish with lots of hands in the world. That would be brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, is it a pre-event thing, or the heaven is prior to everything, and then it's not actually simultaneous stories, but they're like lining up in terms of plot.
Yeah, that was the big question is that there's a character in both stories who looks identical. So,
and he is looking for a guy who looks like him. So yeah.
And there's we're talking as well about, like, to say in the before time, people were like, didn't have to work as hard as this, kind of like machines and things, but then they got worried the machines were watching them all the time and were deciding what was best for them. So it's like, okay, so and it seems they're still doing it.
Then, talking of monster flesh and allusions to Buddhist myths, it's Hell's Paradise. Episodes 4, Hell in Paradise, and episode 5, The Samurai and the Woman. Classic.
It feels like 4 should be like introducing the plot. It should be, but it's episode 4 is like, the plot is well underway.
It's you're kind of seeing a bit of like some of the other like convict executioner kind of pairs, or actually they are all
surviving convict executioner pairs.
So you got Blade Dragon, his little boyfriend, saying, "Here's how I got you, fun. Most of these guys are notorious like kind of bandits and assassins and things. I was just fun, really good at sword and fight and stuff. So I invited him to a dude's house and said, "Hey, I heard you the blade dragon. I bet you could have a fucking giant monster dragon if I could." So that fucker insulted me. I cut the fucking dragon on top of his fucking house, and
I'm a real dragon. I got dragon in my name. That's how cool I am. It's like, all right, I'll cut your fucking house dragon logo in half. How do you like that? It's like, you're under arrest. And he's like,
this guy's here for the stupidest of fucking reasons.
And also, when he says, when I get my pardon, I'm gonna go back and cut that motherfucker's house in two just for getting me in trouble. And his guy's like, that's just gonna get you in worse. All right, okay, fair enough. I have to mind you while you're doing that. Okay.
Yes, Fuji, the little blonde one, is his.
Why are you here? Well, I thought I came along because I'm into executions because I want to study the human body. Because to further medicine, not anything else. Yeah,
not because I'm into it. No.
I thought a literature of life in an island full of weird, animals and creatures and things would be pretty interesting. For medicine, nothing else. These two are going to get along as well, a jock and a nerd.
Well, they both like murdering, so that'll work out. Yeah.
Yeah. We see as well on the other side of that is there's there's Asachobe and his brother, and the brother, the other younger brother, just seems like he's like the pinnacle of an assignment executioner. If only he rose up in the ranks in record time, all because if you get into position when he knew his brother would be committed and sent to death, that he would be the one to execute him, and they're going to have a break out together and be their plan, because he loves his brother so much because his brother is such a badass. Ever since we were kids, he's always been this badass. We've been able to just get you anything with knit and grit.
My brother is a survivor. That's how he's going to survive. And as he's saying this, you're just like, you're about to get eaten by a monster straight away. And he gets grabbed by the hair, and his brother's like, I'm running away. And he's like,
that's my brother is. If he's a survivor. He's just he thinks he's he's going to keep on moving forward. That's my brother, because he's moving forward to get a giant axe off one of these monsters and cut the monster behind me with it. But he's my brother and he loves me. That's why I love him, because he's great.
And it's just like, this isn't going to work out. But I love how much of these guys could have been the main character in the main plot of the thing as well.
But it's very twisted, you see.
Yes.
That's a nice part of it. Saying, I love my big brother. He loves killing people. I love killing people for him. We are the best of friends.
He'll keep me alive as long as I'm useful to him. Hooray! Yeah.
And in the middle of that, we get to see Gabimaru use his ninjutsu to destroy a load of monsters. And we also are introduced properly to Yuzuriha, the Kunoichi.
She wasn't dead where we thought she was. She was pretending to be dead to trick the guy into dying so she could test how the bugs worked and what they would do to your body and that kind of shit. Yeah.
She comes up to proposing it for and saying, "Hey, how about we share information? Hey, that's the most valuable thing we got. Like me and my associates here is just what's this one? Zenta, her executioner of one bodyguard. She's just there's a little kind of this rotund little dude with big glasses, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going, dudes?" Got all these files I've made up already.
I like the way it's he's a bit of a tubby guy. He's got the glasses. He's always sweating. He keeps pulling out books like a fucking nerd. But then it keeps obscuring his rank, and it's just like, that guy's tougher than he looks. Obviously, of course, he fucking is. Yeah.
And he's also got another guy, Genji.
Who is there for totally legitimate reasons and not because that lady's boobs might pop out at any second, which is clearly why he is there, because he's a weirdo.
She tries to seduce Gabimaru, and Gabimaru is having none of it because he loves his
I'm a married
wife.
man. No, that's not going to happen.
I just like her. Yuzuru has one of my favorite characters a lot, because she just has this he's kind of being sweet, and obviously being very duplicitous, and you can kind of see the edge kind of come through as well. But she brings as well a bit of kind of lightheartedness as well, and saying, "Well, you see, I became a ninja because I have a little sister who's dying of anime wasting disease. So I joined up with the ninja recruits, and then they tried to keep me down. And then some stuff happened, and I beat the boss.
I had to betray the boss, and I was on the run."
I reckon it just gets cruder and cruder until we're getting just kind of crayon drawings, and then this happened, and then everyone's saying, if you're going to lie, come up with a much shorter lie. And say, I'm sorry, you got me. Please forgive me. Ow, 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 ow.
And like switching between like the manipulative lies, which he's not good at stringing along, and the I'm just a cute little girl, and it's like clearly you're a ninja who murders people for a living, and it's also I will murder you, and we're working together for now, and we might turn on each other at any second, but we'll survive longer if we stick together.
Yeah. I got this information about like how the poison in the boat because I tortured the shit out of that guy before he died. Little old me.
And then briefly in the episode, we see the executioner who is guarding the child who was sentenced to death, who we see more of in the next episode 5.
So, like, prisoners we got left. We got your man and his brother. We got Gabimaru and our Kunoichi. We got... We got the big lads.
Yes. You have the giant one, the other giant one who shows up at the end of it there.
And the kid at the end of the episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
Oh, and the
noodle
sword
guy.
master guy. Yeah. So we have a good
noodle
few
guy
left. I mean, like,
Zenza, yeah. They also tried to like get off the island on a boat, and that's where they kind of run into like the dude and says, "I'm out of here. My prisoner is dead, so I'm going to go. You should go as well." And to see why so many ships haven't returned, or very rarely many ever do, because there's giant turtle monsters surrounding the island, and also other wrecked ships form a kind of barrier around it, and it's very difficult to escape.
And I like the kind of the thing of where your man's like, I'm an honorable samurai and too stupid to understand anything more complicated than this.
Yes.
I'm here because you're actually reasonably innocent as far as I can tell. So I would like you to get the thing to get the pardon to get off of this thing. And it's like, I feel guilty because I accidentally led the executioners to my family's village and they considered us seditious, and I basically got my family and all my friends and everyone I've known killed. So I feel like this is divine punishment that I should die. Your man's like, that's too complicated. Explain it to me in 3 words or less. While I'm fighting off these giant tentacles from the sea. We don't have much time. Be quick about it.
This is Tenza is the executioner, and Nuragai, and then later when they're washing off, is shocked to discover that Nuragai.
Girl.
He's like, yeah, and. Jeez, you are stupid. I didn't. I thought it was pretty apparent to me. You say I don't look like a girl, do you? Is that it?
Yeah. So again, another thing that could be main characters given a different show, and I love how many characters have a really good character design. Because now I'm looking at it and I was like, any of you fuckers are up for the chop. It's great.
The other bits in episode 5 is Gabimaru makes some food. He's discovered stuff about the plants and the bodies of the monsters. It's like they've got Buddhist symbology, but it's not quite right, and their organs aren't quite finished.
It seems all messed up, like, you know.
Yeah.
So you got the kind of Buddhist things and Taoist things, which have like almost nothing in common. And
Clearly
then
someone made these statues, but this doesn't seem like the kind of place that has human habitation on it.
I mean, look at this fish man with 8 arms. He's got a fucking nearly a Pope hat on. That's something else entirely. What the hell are they talking about? So if these are gods, then it's I don't know fucking like what kind of gods we're worshiping. But this is just fucked up and kind of half-arsed. So
and they're kind of sharing information when she said, "Hey, when I carved through them, I did notice they had organs and viscera and muscle and stuff." And he's like, "Did they have any sexual organs?" Like, no, they didn't have any sexual organs when I carved through them. And he's like, "So that's interesting." Gabimaru's like, "Brilliant! If they're weird piles of sentient meat that have been barely fucking held together, half fish, half lobster, half man, a couple of extra arms on it, it's just like that sounds like something that a thing that keeps you immortal would help with, like, if you don't have proper internal organs." So those guys have clearly been made immortal by it, which means it's real, which means I can get that pardon. Everything's coming
next
up.
Lifetown. Yep.
Yeah. In the meantime, the other executioner is very much so, hey, you're a woman, go home. Go home, you're a woman. You're a woman, go home.
Yes.
It's like that's basically his entire.
And that's where we cut to the guys trying to go home and failing. So we know that's not an option anyway.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they get attacked by Rokurota, the world's biggest criminal, and
world's most giantest baby man.
And maybe it was Genji who should have been leaving the island.
Yeah, because he sucks. He sucks shit. It's fun Sagiri just fucking like when I was never gonna be fucking head of the clan and one said, let's just marry her off. Let's just marry her off. Even though she was like fun dedicated to the blade, she was as good as any of them. But because she's a woman, you keep on women shouldn't be sword fighting either.
The
She's
closest thing he has to like a
outcast from both
legitimate
sides of her
complaint.
life.
The closest thing he has to a legitimate complaint is like your sword skills and executioner skills and blade testing skills are exemplary. You do not have any combat skills. So get the fuck off this island. But it's mostly because also you're a woman. Your job is to pump out babies. Is the other thing he's saying. And I'm just like, fuck this guy. But he has a really good character design. But that doesn't fucking save him.
There's a hole punch through him from behind.
Yeah.
It's just got done from like from stealing her resolve against him and saying, no, it doesn't count because you're a woman. It doesn't count. It's
Yeah,
like, fuck
she
off,
has a good
man.
speech,
Shut up.
and he's like, whatever, that's boring. I don't fucking care about that shit. Yeah. So he really deserves what he gets. I presume he's dead, or he's about to be eaten in the next episode. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. It's a fun, like a meat grinder or everything. It hasn't gotten here. Yeah, I mean, she was still fighting amongst the prisoners ourselves. Like, we haven't gotten to the real monsters yet. I love this like seeing us going up and down now. Like when Gabby Marrow's in like attack mode, it's fun saying, "Okay, hood up." It's like fucking Kashan. He's gonna just carve through some giant dudes with kicks and fucking chops and shit, man.
And there's a fun bit in the episode 5 where him and Sagiri are basically going, no, you're better than me. And he said, no, you're better than me. You're teaching me how to be a better person. No, I'm learning from you.
Please, after you, please.
Yeah, just giving each other compliments. Which I guess they do. They do compliment each other.
Well, it's survival and a thing, and parasurvival isn't just requiring food and shelter. It's also how you kind of manage the relationships within the group, because if you're not of a unit, you're not going to survive.
There's definitely like really good working on the interpersonal relationships. Like I like your man, the overweight executioner, who's kind of like, Senta. He was like, I kind of half agree with the guy that you should leave, but the other half of me says this is the place where you can be like, this is a crucible that you could be fucking forged in, kind of thing. It's like I'm halfway between, like, and he's like, I don't like saying that you should go home because I'm not a sexist or anything, but this could also make or break you, basically. Yes. So maybe you should stick around.
And there's a gag when she wakes up from when she'd been knocked out in the previous episode and discovers Senta has stitched all their clothing back together again from the blows they had, and Gabby Maru has made loads and loads of food for them. It's like,
so they can keep the character designs the same. Yeah.
Supposed to be finding the thing. And he explains, yes, searching bacon the food was exploring the island. It all had a purpose.
Yeah.
I've forgotten from reading the comic as well. It has this occasional very weird, at times almost feels like it's inappropriate, but makes a kind of funnier sense of humor, like Golden Kamuy does when Jujutsu Kaisen remembers to have that.
Demon Slayer has it. Demon Slayer. I think that's part of the reason that was popular.
Yeah, and again, I feel like this is like, for me, I thought it was like, when they kind of move on through the story, I feel kind of more thematically, I kind of a bit clearer and a bit more like kind of pushing a bit more on its themes and demons there it was. We'll see what it does, because it's about the nature of immortality and and how to defeat something like this overwhelming force that like defies mortal beings itself. I think it has like a more like a larger, more profound grasp on the thing. Also, you get a lot more tits in this, so that puts you like a rank above all already.
I think keeping the humor is a thing that makes it a lot more human, and it stops it being like an absolute meat grinder, doom and gloom kind of thing. It allows for more characterization and again that fun interpersonal play that it does. Sorry.
Then we've got Chibi Godzilla Raids Again, Episode 3, The Resplendent Maiden, Chibi Mothra, and The Ruler of the Skies, Chibi Rodan in Episode 4.
So we got more like a three-way, at least three different opinion kind of main manzai, and then Godzilla just randomly saying shit off on the side. Is it kind of seems to be the format they're working with?
Yeah, we got more though in the Chibi Mothra, because you've also got the fairies are in the Chibi Mothra.
I mean, like
episode.
they're basically, that could be one character like just stepping to the side and pretending to be both fairies. They're basically the same kind of Gyaru type character.
Yes, they're playing against the type that they are in the films. But also, they're doing the gag where they have to speak for Mothra, but Mothra's right there and can hear
She's just
everybody
really
having the
shy. She's
conversation.
really shy. It's like, hey, tell him this thing. It's like, yeah, she says you're a creep. Fuck off. It's like, whoa, she said that? It's like, I didn't. Please. It's good. And then they get in their head that Mothra fancies Mechagodzilla.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh, fucking you fancy him. You're into him. It's like, hey, she thinks you're hot shit. All right. She wants a piece of that. And he's just like, oh, fuck. All right. It's a good bouncing. And again, it would easily be to right communicate, but the miscommunication makes it funnier.
Yeah. And Chibi Rodan, it is Mothra, Mechagodzilla, and Chibi Mechagodzilla and Chibi Mothra. Ready to Chibi Rodan, they go climb up a mountain and
to talk to regular Godzilla is the plan because he's tall. Yeah. It's a good plan.
And Chibi Rodan has a very high opinion of himself, but when you puncture that opinion of him, he crashes to the ground. And he can accidentally do it himself, is the final punchline is.
Just didn't need no microwave laser. Just insult him.
There's a lot of good bits of that where initially Mechagodzilla is like purposefully insulting him. It's like, no, fuck this guy. He thinks he's great. It's like, what's the wrong with thinking you're great? It's like, am I a burden on people though? False.
Yeah, it's a daft. They're like what? They're 2.5 minutes long. They're a lot of fun. I've been watching the other thing from the 90s, Godzilla Island, which is this show where all the monster action is just people moving like figures around on the screen.
Good
from
stuff.
Just below the camera. That's quite wacky as well. That's been subtitled on the official site, on the official YouTube channel.
Oh, it's up on their YouTube as well. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Once I've watched the Chibi Godzilla, because just the use of the classic music in Chibi Godzilla as well is so much fun. Just like the little snippets at the start and the end. I was like, yeah, I mean, following this channel now. Just give me all this Godzilla content.
Okay, good stuff.
Educational, maybe.
It is. Vinland Saga, Season 2, Episode 16, Great Purpose. And Episode 17, The Road Home.
Heavy shit.
Yeah.
It was clear like it was foregone what was going to happen. And saying, yeah, this way it's going to go. It gets to like the end of this batch, and it's just like right. Everyone's saying, no, it cuts me up right here. Like everyone's saying, no, I know it's going to go. It's sad, but it's where it's going to go. Everyone's saying, still, it's how you tell them. It's fucking just cut me up pretty bad. I gotta say.
Same. Again, you know it's a tragedy. You know it's going to end sadly, and it's just like, yep, still got me to tear up.
So yeah, the first episode we're talking about here is they're trying to Snake's trying to like lure Garda out. Einar and Thorfinn try and have a plan to try and get him and Arnheid away.
Yeah, we'll make a distraction where we'll make them look this way and we'll sneak Gardar out this way. That basically kind of thing. And also, Thorfinn is too small, so it's like, Einar, if you put on a big cloak and run around the place, they'll be just like, there he is, get him. And then we'll just sneak him out on the cart. And they've gotten the, I've forgotten his name, not Kettle's dad.
Svirkle.
Is in on it as well. He's just like, yeah, I'm fucking gonna die anyway. This sounds like a good way to go out to do something decent with my life at the end. Yeah. So
put me on the cart.
I did like the reveal that Gardar is hidden under his bed, basically. It's like, that's a good hiding spot. Yeah.
Kept that quiet. Yeah, good on him. Steak is fun to someone kind of says that something is up though. I'm saying this doesn't smell right. You too. After him, I gotta go back to the house and check something. What? Never mind, I'm gone already.
Yeah, it's like, we know he was stabbed initially. We know he was stabbed again recently. And that motherfucker's pelting it for the woods. It's like, that doesn't seem like a guy who is heavily fucking wounded. And also, I know what that guy does with his being heavily wounded. He murders everyone around him. So why would he be running away?
Yeah,
Yes.
and as well, this like snake, you just got off the horse part way because they'd hear the horse coming to try and sneak up on them. But
He sprints the rest of the way. Yeah.
but when Thorfinn's fucking new types just kind of kick in and say, "Nope, there he is. He's up there. He's coming down. Big man is back, and there's no way to explain this away anymore." So
Yeah.
what's it gonna be?
The visual of him taking essentially a boxing stance, but you man's kind of like tingles through his sword into his sinews. Like, wait a minute.
Before this though, we've had the ghost of Askeladd show up.
His ghost that it was okay if I fight this.
He's
dude.
like, you gotta have a fight, are you now, Thorfinn? You said you weren't gonna, but now look at you. You gotta have a fight sometime.
So easy was it? No, come on. No one says you gotta kill nobody. You can fuck somebody up pretty bad. You know you got it in you. No fun. Is that what you do to defend your ideals?
Exactly. You can't say I will, in this world at least, in the way fucking things work. You can't live by saying I will refrain from all violence, and it's like you might need to do a little bit of violence to maintain that.
We will see in future seasons.
yeah, sure. But I mean, like, this is the first time, obviously, he has to take up arms, even though he's taking up bare hands. But you know, he's still taking a knife fighting stance, basically. Yeah.
Yes, and then he gets into a fight with Snake, and
it's cool.
It's a cool fight, and Snake outwits him by just maneuvering him away from the cart.
I'm not trying to win the fight. I'm trying to kill this fucking guy in the back of this cart. That's the fight.
Yeah. Which and then we get like I don't think he says eye for an eye, but it's along the lines. I was like, between that and Svirkel's behavior, it's like, it's all coming from the Bible, but the pair of them have been reading them and taking different lessons.
He doesn't say an eye for an eye. Like, he says something along the lines of only a life can pay for a life, or something like that, which is similar kind of. Yeah.
And then
he's pretty cut up about like he killed like a bunch of my dudes. They worked for me, but also like I was like friendly enough.
Listen,
with them, like,
we're all scumbags. We can't use our real names because of all the crimes we did. We all have to use pseudonyms. We're all animals, fucking themed. But do we not deserve to live as well? Like those 5 guys he fucking killed, do they fucking deserve to be cut down like that? Life for a life, stabs into the back of the cart, basically.
Yeah, even that's not good enough to kill Garda.
Straight away.
Well, the amount of cuts he's had, but even you'd think that would being struck through the heart by his curved sword. Yeah, we get this is like the
really big. He's a really big guy.
Yeah, the bit with Snake at the start of this is like the most I think we get of like hints of his background. It's like he's been somewhere that's got him this sword. He's fucked up something in the place which got him this sword to such an extent that they can't go around using his real name anymore.
Like, a lot of people, I imagine, were expecting the start of this episode to be the cool shit, the Thorfinn Snake fight, and both of them going like, why is a guy this fucking cool at fighting on a farm? Why is this guy so cool at fighting a slave? How did this happen? They're both kind of looking at each other like, what the fuck? No one as strong as me should be here, and that guy's as strong as me.
Yes, because we've had the speech in the previous episode where Svirkel's talking about like the Norse attitude to slaves, like it's their position in life, but he doesn't believe that. He just thinks some people are just unlucky.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is, Snake does say something along the lines of, I've forgotten the fucking name for it. The Viking word for Istanbul, Constantinople. Something guard. He said, "I'm a warrior of something guard. I shouldn't be having this much trouble."
Yes, it's whatever the name for Norse mercenaries that the Byzantine Empire were using.
Of that region, basically. Yeah. It's very good, but so he's just like, well, I've done my job now, and Gardar comes up and gets him in a fucking armbar.
And so now Thorfinn has to save Snake.
But the thing that actually saves him isn't trying to get this monstrous man to let go of his grip in his death throes. It's his wife kind of going like, come on, let's go home to our kid. And is like appealing to his humanity, because fighting this guy clearly does not stop him. Yeah.
And yes, he's dying, and then the rest of the episode is a dying man who had already lost his mind, further losing his mind and hallucinating.
It's just like
It's
fun.
both losing his mind and
this.
realizing what he like. Every part of your suffering is your fucking fault. Like it's the decisions you made that ruined your fucking life to some extent. And it's
all
just
these all of these people you see, all these wretched souls on the side of this road are all you.
yeah.
These are the things you've done and behind and finally, and it's kind of crushing in a way. Then one of the, like this Buster's like version of himself right now is sitting in that room watching himself go out that door and turn his back on his family. It's just like it's all too late. It's all too late.
And again, like and it's not that because you understand from the thing. It's just like if he hadn't went to war for iron, it's just like, well, his family might have been taken over by the more powerful village next door, and he might have been enslaved anyway. But it's the idea that you actively made the choice to fight rather than care for the things you cared about, care for the people you cared about. So it's like it is his own fault, but you feel so fucking bad for everyone involved. Really, it's a real shit situation.
Next week, things get worse.
Some like guys are coming.
That's like every week on Vinland Saga. It's a real shit show. In that it's very depressing and everything keeps going to shit more and more. Yeah, because you still have those. You have those end credits where you see the boats coming in. Oh, one of those boats is gonna come in. Yeah.
But who's on those boats?
Yeah.
Luffy.
Then we've got where are we now? It is the Marginal Service. Sublime to the ridiculous. Episode 3, Don't Overeat Caviar. And episode 4, That Absurd Switch. So don't overeat.
I can see the running joke here is just like we have this like team of dudes, and it's obvious that this is the strong guy, this is the hacker one, this is the sneaky one, and the joke is we're going to keep sending the wrong people to do the wrong jobs.
yeah. It's the organization is the problem, I think.
I also took these episodes to realize, they're doing that thing that action TV in the 70s and 80s did, where you'd open with like a scene from later in the episode
in the middle of the action. Yeah.
An Marginal Service.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, like it is him stuffing his face with caviar as well. It's just like he is going to do that. That's the title of the episode.
So yes, the episode 3 is they're infiltrating a party being held by the guy they suspect is funding the whole Borderlander drug situation, the pop star Rubber Suit.
Great fucking joke. Love it.
Before we get to the party, though, everybody in Marginal Service, except for Zeno, because he's a misery guts, declare what their favourite form of music is.
Yeah, because obviously your man's really bent out of shape about it, because it's like Rubber Suit's like my favorite current artist. Like I got the poster on my wall and everything, and I love the guys. Again, the James Bond and your action hero, fucking your Schwarzenegger type guy is like, it's like I bet you like rap, and it's like you think I like rap because I'm black, because I do. I was just like, that's the dumbest fucking shit. And also, there's no way James Bond will be into punk music. That's fucking bullshit.
This James Bond would be.
He's not a good James Bond, so I guess there's that. Yeah.
It's the talking chipmunk thing into reggae is I think my favorite touch.
There's a lot of good shit there. Yeah.
And then my second favorite joke is when they're all undercover, and then they start the James Bond and the Schwarzenegger type. They have brought their own food with them, disguised as waiters.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can get away with like, oh, this is a cocktail mixed with protein. I was like, I guess that sounds like a thing you get at some like fancy ass fucking bar, maybe at a function. Yeah, okay. And it's like fish and chips, sir. It's just like
propane.
You don't hand a fancy tray of beer, domestic beer, and fish and chips. That's not how it's done.
It's some party you got here. Wow.
I mean, like, I would fucking love if that was the case at a fancy party, but I'm not fancy.
This waiters going around with fun chips, all wafting salt and vinegar around the room. Well, it could be good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get this fault. You gotta get a crystal skull, because you gotta like have that. This is the kind of stuff we're dealing with now. So we got a crystal skull. People
when we questioned the dinosaur man, he said they were using the crystal skull to refine the alien drugs.
So they put the magic mushrooms in a microwave with the crystal skull to perform a ritual.
Extra powerful. Yeah,
it's like, what sort of ritual involves a microwave?
A modern one.
I call it at lunchtime.
Yeah, so they get into a fight with a harpy woman who's the head of security at the party.
Who was immediately fired for her blunders previously in the following episode.
I mean,
Yes.
that's because this world is built on people who are ineffectual at their job. Because she's looking at the security cam footage, is like, "Hey, did that screen just flicker for a second?" And they're like, "Yeah, but there's no one there." It's like, "Motherfucker, that's a loop video. I'm going down there right now." Like, she's on the ball.
Haven't you seen like any film made in the last 2 decades?
Yeah, exactly.
Not in this timeline, no. Sorry.
Yeah, she's the one who's aware of the genre that she's in.
Yeah. Which is why she has to be fired, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, how do they end up? I can't remember exactly how this episode ends. I know Rubber Suit dies, but it turns out it was a double. Oh, the dancing! They'd have to do the distraction
they
by
have to
doing
put
a
on
dance.
a distraction, so they put on a dance that is very improved. And Rubber Suit is like, "Oh, this is great! I love this." And I was just like, "Oh, I guess Rubber Suit's all right." And it's like, "No, this is his stunt double, so he has to pretend to be into the shit."
So luckily, also all the party guests are also off their face because he actually had spiked the punch with the crystal skull also to hide it in plain sight.
He looked all through the vault and there's no fucking crystal skull there. And then your man's looking from the van. It's just like, oh, it's in the drinks that the guys are dispensing. So everyone's high as shit on extra sauce, I guess. Because the crystal skull makes everything stronger, it seems to be.
Yeah, the Peck is being worn as a muff as well. He's undercover as well.
And he also gets to be a bulletproof vest.
Yes. He's got a very flexible body, as we learned in the following episode.
Is that flexible?
Well,
really,
if
put him back together when he gets blown up by a bomb delivered to the address.
Yeah,
that's a little more flexible.
So in the episode 4 it's a little bit more serious.
On the loose. Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually starting to go like, we are going to talk about like, you know, the serious issues that we keep bringing up a little. And we see why our main guy kind of has sympathy for the underclass and the underdog, because he was that himself once. Where is he from? Ohio or something? I know he said in the prior episode.
He mentions
Dakota.
Yeah,
Dakota.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and this is important that like for whatever this like kind of message is going to get across, obviously about immigration, but like the marginal service are all immigrants, so it's like no, it's like we don't get it, man. We're also like you know aren't from this country neither. Well, I'm not from this fucking dimension, so that's a different thing. I'm not sure we quite relate to each other, but we'll try our best, won't we?
Yeah, and there's a little bit in this episode of like, oh, the Japanese yokai, who are the Borderlanders, are being treated as immigrants, but it's like we were here first.
Your thing of like native people, and they go to question the harpy one who's unemployed now and living in the ghetto, and it's just your man's like, listen, sorry you lost your job, that fucking sucks, and the other guy's like, shut the fuck up, I gotta go.
Zeno's being a fucking absolute dickhead. He's just like all Borderlanders are criminals.
Oh, I mean, the start of the episode when Brian wakes up and finds Zeno in his flat, and Zeno hands him his door handle that he's torn off.
Yeah, and he's kind of like, and he's still trying to be polite to Zeno, where it's like, hey, are you fucking drinking my coffee and eating my fucking breakfast? And it's like, I order, and it's just like he hands him a hand wipe. It's like, yeah, I was in the bathroom and haven't washed my hands because someone broke into my fucking apartment. But they're washing his hands, and I'm just like, why are you being polite to this guy? This guy's a fucking prick.
He's a dick. Doesn't like music. Doesn't like anything. He's a completely humorous asshole.
We do learn at the end of the last episode. I think he likes Enya. Is the one thing I think he says Enya. I can't remember now.
I think you might be right. Yes. So they follow the clues, and it turns out there's a Tengu who is setting off these bombs particularly carefully, so as not to harm anybody, in order to complete a ritual.
If you've seen other police procedural Bakumatsu Bad Boys, it's the exact same plot.
Same plot. It's just like, hey, remember these 5 points where you could draw a star to do like an arcane ritual? You could do that with bombs and flowers as well.
I was like, I assume the guy, your fella in Dude Megalopolis, also tries this at some point. Yeah, so they follow the clues. They go to his apartment. He was a former physicist. And then they get stuck in a Pythagoras switch trap that's going to blow them up.
Don't say that. You're gonna get us sued because the credit put Pythagoras is fucking copyright. But I know it's Peter Gola Switch is the fucking program. But
and they get tied together, and they're going to get blown up. And this is where Zeno's personality changes as he completely freezes up and has a flashback.
Because he's initially like going to your man, and it's like, what, you kept the fucking like the toothpick, and he's like berating your man. It's like, yeah, I'm trying to unpick the handlock so
I'm a hard ass. I don't take any credit to your attitude. Oh, we're going to die, aren't we? Oh, I'm so powerless, just like that time. It's just, oh, you're just a fucking hollow man. You're a cardboard cutout of a fucking cop, aren't you?
Yeah, so somebody has died in his past, and that's why he's behaving like he is, because he doesn't want anybody else. He doesn't want to be responsible for anybody else's death, and he's like, he goes, "This is my fault. We're gonna die. It's my fault." And so Brian has to step up, take charge, escape, prevent the Pythagoras switch from going off. But then there's a sixth ball which goes into the trigger for the bomb, and nothing explodes. Instead, a new record by Rubber Suit starts playing.
It's a Buddha Sutra.
It's also a key codex for the revolution to do this thing. So this was informing the Tengu guy that was just like, hey, bomb these fucking areas for the ritual.
Yeah.
And it all converges on the stadium. We got to go to the stadium. Let's go.
This is the whole thing. They basically do bump. You're under arrest, pal. You're out of her pamper and saying, now Zeno, his heart was in the right place. So can we just do like one nice thing for him? The office fireworks, not thinking. Oh, there might not be a fucking like a signal or something like that. And the saying, no, it'll be all right. The fireworks go off, and then a fucking an ancient, undiscovered or previously hidden like monolith like erupts out of the bun based into the stadium. So I have to explain that away in the papers if I'm on there.
Yes, and then they ponder whether they're being targeted, and another parcel turns up, because one had turned up earlier in the episode when Peck had got his arms blown off.
It turns out they weren't targeted in that case because it was just their building happened to be on one of the 5 points that this ritual had to happen at. Yeah.
And then this new parcel blows up and splatters Peck all over the room, much to his annoyance.
Yeah, and initially just blew his arms off, which he was just annoyed about. And now they're all covered in Peck.
Oh, now someone's trying to kill us. I see.
Is that why they send the gopher to get all the packages just in case?
Quite possible.
I also at least once before.
Was Theodore polishing artifact
maybe
every
it's that
episode?
Sukunoku shell that I ordered online on eBay or whatever the fuck. And the text like, you got to stop ordering this shit, man, before he immediately is murdered by the explosive in the package.
Because in episode 3, he was polishing like a glass pyramid. In episode 4, he's polishing the crystal skull from the previous episode.
This one loves that shit. He's got some like OCD thing that calms him down.
We also learned that Zeno used to be a great famous detective. He quit being a detective, and he owes Theodore, which is part of the reason why he didn't like he'd become bored being a detective. He said that's what he claimed. And he owes Theodore as to why he's in the MARGINAL service.
He was fired because he's a terrible cop. Even by TV cop standards, he's awful. Because Fun Brian is just like fun trying, okay, happy lady, but let's just like give it to us straight right here. What happened? It's like, yes, give us what I want to know. He's pulling the gun up and saying, dude, I've asked you one question. Will you fucking calm down?
I'm trying to appeal to her, for lack of a better term, humanity, and I think she's going to talk because she seems quite reasonable in this situation. And it's just you're being like a bad cop where that's not necessary.
You're being a bad cop, and by bad I mean you're incompetent. You have no idea what the fuck this job entails. Just part of it anyway. Can we get Bolts in here? He's very nice. He'll offer a protein shake once Bill's thing will go nice and smooth.
There. I also I think it's one of these episodes as well. We see the guy who's like their hacker guy. When he's constantly drinking a bottle of Coke, there's like a load of unfinished bottles.
There's like 100 empties in there. Yeah.
No, they're not empty. They all have the arse in them. So I think he just stops drinking them when they go flat, and he takes too long to fucking, which is really funny.
We've all done that.
Then we got 2 episodes of Dr. Stone to talk about The Eyes of Science, episode 4, and episode 5, Science Vessel Perseus. That episode has one of my favourite scenes in the entire series, which is the parody of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 5, Swimming After the Ship. Um,
It's kind of like we're like the kind of development thing is to build up to what's the more emotional bits before we set off on the boat we've just built.
Yeah.
Which we've also built not because we need to go around the world, but also because it's fulfill a long-held ambition of someone who's been recently petrified and loves sailing around on boats and having things. Who could that be?
so what do they do in this episode? They build a road.
They build mine carts. They find mines. They develop radar, which when underwater is sonar, and when applied another way can also be a metal detector, so you can find like stuff in the earth.
It's a lot of inventing. Like, it doesn't end on a big character moment or a big like plot reveal or development or something like that. It ends on we met mine carts, which is like okay, it's like it's fine to do that sometimes.
I suppose a nice bit is seeing a bit of, as well of like what Chrome like brings it with. It was always like fun, science guys, and everyone was like, Senku knows how all this works inside and out, But he has like someone that learner's like attitude towards fun. Like he will ask like what would be the stupid question, but he doesn't know what stupid question is. He just kind of asks this, or he just kind of looks into it himself. And comes across something that Senku overlooked because of how fastidious and things in his own research. It's like, yeah, that's it. She's excited to get that kind of another set of eyes, kind of a new set of eyes, is what they will ask and ponder. But why? Well, why is it like that? And that's what science is all about, man.
Yeah, and he's basically converted their radar array, or a version of the radar array, into a metal detector, which is great because they do need iron to build a steel engine for this monstrous ship that they want to make. But it's the idea that he comes up with it. It's like, oh yeah, you can work that technology to that. But Senku was like, I built it as radar, but it's how it can be applied. And that's what kind of Chrome brings to it. Is like, how can I use this? How can I use this differently? Or when he sees it for the first time, he thinks of other uses for it outside of what it's initially supposed to be, like radar.
Yeah,
his mind isn't penned in.
Exactly.
What is capable of it already. You just you consider every possibility as all open. Yeah.
Which episode it is, but they also invent winter sports because it's going to take them a year to build this goddamn ship.
It's the second one because the boat is so. Yeah, the boat is so arduous to make that it takes a whole fucking year to do.
They have to make it. Ryusei makes a little version of it so they can get to the
increasingly scaling it up with cool apparatus. I love them. That thing is like kind of lengthens
the drawing thing.
You got a pencil in here, and then it's got a little like sort of kind of levers there, and then it draws it in a larger scale than on a different bit of the big sheet right now. So just kind of keep on going, keep on building blueprints, and then it's just like putting together a big model kit, like a ship in a bottle. It's like assembly. It's like a fucking IKEA set.
And we get more Ryusei background where it's like him being the greediest child in the world as opposed to the greediest man in the world. And they ask even all the CEOs and everything, we got to do something about Ryusei. He's out of control. He's always buying shit. We gave him like a 10 million allowance. We reduced it, and he invested in the stock market and turned it into double that. It's like, what are we going to do about him? Francois, what do you think we should do about him? And Francois, who is an immortal transgender by the look of it, it's kind of like he's not actually like a shitty person. He's actually doing this stuff because he's a decent person, and that's why, like, leave him off. He's grand. It's he's the greediest man, but also greedy for other people's benefit.
He wants everything and everyone. He wants everyone to have. I want all this shit, and I want everybody to have all this shit. I want all of it. I want all of it, and lots of it for me and all my friends, who is everybody, because I want everybody.
This will be explained right near the end of the story. You've got a long old wait as to why his personality is like this.
Yeah. I was looking for kind of hints of it here, but not so much. Like, I don't think they retroactively added it in or anything.
All this time as well, Banami, because they've developed like the photography. She's been documenting their voyage, because it could be the last time we get to do this, because they're going to send off people on a voyage in a year's time on this boat.
On a dangerous voyage that you mightn't return from. We don't fucking know what's going to happen. There's a whole mystery
except
of the white man
Senku's
now.
like, we're definitely going to do it. We'll all be back. Don't worry. And then, like, the very next scene, we got Ryusei going, you might not make it back. So if you don't want to come on the ship, you don't have to come on the ship.
I'm going to list the names we want on the ship, but if you say no thanks. That's grand. That's totally understandable.
Right, the list is all your favorite characters. You're all coming.
All of the main characters, all of the fighters. Also, since we're bringing all our strongest characters onto the ship, like physically strongest, should we leave the 2 criminals there? No, we'll bring them as well. Portable jail. Yeah, fuck it. That can only go well.
And our ship is called a brig.
Yeah.
So the only guy who gets called who doesn't go on the ship is Ginro. But so as not to look bad, he pretends to change his mind and swim after the ship.
He dies off the cliff screaming, "No, come back! I want to go too. I'm sorry." But it's like only the hot ladies on shore can hear that. Surely they can't hear that on the ship with some
I'm
sort
never
of
going to
radar
catch
array.
that boat. I'm never going to come back. I'm about to come back with a valiant effort, and then I'm going to like have all these lasers and going to grow some cool mustache and beard. It's going to be totally awesome. Until Kohaku plucks me out of the water for a sniff and said, that's Kinroy.
No, it was Taiju.
It was Taiju even, yeah. Didn't get that. No, of course I wouldn't get that. It's like, I knew you were a better man than that, Kinro. I knew you.
They're all dancing, celebrating Ginro's newfound courage, which he does not have. He's still as much of a coward as before.
Yeah, the other fun gag is with his brother, Kinro, who's the only one of the strong group to behave themselves and come on board as his name is called.
Yes. Everyone else, like the muscle team, and they all just rush on board. It's like, could you wait one by one? It's like Senku, obviously, and Senku's already on board. And it's like, oh, okay. I guess Gen also kind of waited. And he's like, I don't want to go because I'm a big cowardly guy. And it's like, yeah, but we're gonna have to talk this guy down maybe. And then he's like, well,
you're going to eat me for that, won't you? Well, if you're getting someone to do what you want is act like you don't want to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
Catch you later, boss. It's just like, I think, just kind of reiterating, that's what we want everybody in here for, is what like their best type of thing. You're going to want like a shipbuilder, you're going to want like an engineer and things. Well, new life, new destinations. You need to need some diplomacy in this motherfucker, so we got to have him on.
So they're like, off to South America. And they're like, no, there's one place we got to go first, is Senku. We got to go to Treasure Island.
You got to go to where the capsule from the Soyuz landed, because they initially didn't land on Japan. Obviously, was it the Soyuz? Was the spaceship?
Yes,
Soyuz,
that's correct.
Who was also there in the background shots, because name wasn't called, but they've got some nondescript webbers to be just whoever goons need to fill a scene with. So and Soyuz is there. We haven't forgotten him from that big chart. He's hanging around. A nice touch as well was like with the photography thing was just you're seeing this documentation of we've invented like a steel foundry, we kind of doing all this stuff, we've invented winter sports. It's just like it's the kind of black and white nature, and then you kind of writing little notes in them to saying what this is commemorating. I know it was a really good montage for kind of the passage through times. A year was kind of passing, kind of zipping right through it. But you feel like kind of doing that, you kind of all the stuff that kind of packed into it, so it doesn't feel like it's 1 year later and we didn't do nothing. It was just like we're both done. It's just like no, you're seeing all of the steps to it because it's important.
Yeah, all of the progress to it. It does. It's a good way of showing the passage of time, and also like her kind of tearful farewell kind of thing, where it's just like the time kind of matters to people, and that she's trying to make a record of it, so that if the world ends again, we got a record of it,
And then Saga says in all of these things is that there's no other way to do it but the hard work. To actually kind of make progress, you can and build things. You got to build up and up and up, and you can't skip any steps. There's no shortcuts in any of this. I think that's like it's something that gets lost in so many things about where human society is progressing. Gotta have fast answers, but there are no fast answers. It's hard work and nothing but hard work, and you're just procrastinating until Sunday night again. Humanity, come on.
Yeah, he has to use a wooden lathe to build a copper lathe, to build a bronze lathe, to build an iron lathe, to build a steel lathe. Eventually, it's like I'm gonna just work my way through these things until I have the fucking thing that we actually need.
I'm sorry building a better world for our species is so boring for you, but unfortunately somebody has to step up and do it.
So with the year Senku spent trying to revive just Taiju, and the year that they made this ship, and also I think another year has gone by. How old is he now?
He's definitely an adult. He's definitely like
he's definitely an
he
adult
would
at
no
this
longer
stage,
be a
anyway.
3,000 and something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they need to worry about being told off when they drink alcohol again. I think
There's no law anymore.
they're all good.
I mean, like, they did bring the cop on the ship, unfortunately. But
Yeah, well, to be fair, he is one of the worst cops in the world.
Yeah.
He is essentially the cop from Tensai Bakamon.
Yeah, the one-eyed cop, yeah. Or one-eyebrowed cop, one-eye cop?
One eyeballed.
Yeah.
His eyes like Sonic does with his melt into one.
The singular eye, yeah.
But we'll see more of that similarity later in the season. Then we got Ranking of Kings, The Treasure Chest of Courage, Episode 3, Hilling's Old Friend, and Nida and Magic. And then Episode 4 is Immortality and the Three Brothers. And this is where Brian says, I'm out. I ain't got time to watch this. This is like watching a TV series that's all One Piece filler.
This is definitely the filler, but it is very
Yeah.
pretty. That's the thing that I'm...
It's okay, I think. I mean, while I was like retreading some things we know, we kind of I know about before. With the three brothers in the underworld like that, and
just kind of like doing a whole episode of that.
It's going over again. It was like, kind of expanding out certain details of it, And for this, like, thing, it comes in, these be some kind of fun little vignettes, to kind of little amusing little things, and then it's like, no, here's like another completely like very serious, very somber like retelling of this bit of it.
I'd like, and especially on that episode 5, this was like, this is not the kiddie version of Ranking of Kings. It was like, this is just as nasty as it was.
The other reason I can't be doing with it is because it's fucked up on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I hate doing that as well. It hops around to
So basically, the next episode's linked to the original season. So
a bunch of things do that on Crunchyroll now. It's really fucking annoying. Yeah.
I was like, I'll click on this, and I was like, this seems familiar. I was like, oh no, this is episode 4 of the first series. And I watched episode 4 of this series.
Or sometimes it's episode 1 of it in German or some shit. Yeah.
Now what it's defaulting to. It's defaulting to like fun. Series 31, episode 1 is next. What the fuck that is?
So are you doing? You're watching it through the like the app on the PlayStation, right?
Esperanto dub or something. What the hell is this?
Because I know it's the app. The app does it. But like if you're watching it in the browser, I don't think it does it. Or is it maybe it's the other way around?
In the browser, it's going from episode 3 of this to episode 4 of the original. And then you get to episode 4, it goes from episode 4 of this to episode 5 of the original. Of course, the irony is when I went to episode 4 of this, it was still a lot of footage from the previous series anyway. My understanding is, at least for episode 4, it's like inserting in scenes they cut for time from the original.
And like while basically that was the filler, I guess it wasn't really filler in the comic. It was just like elaborating on it, but it wasn't necessary to the main through line of the story they wanted to tell. It is like extra detail that I'm enjoying, but it's absolutely not necessary to watch.
Yeah.
It's like how did Hilling meet these 4 knights? It's like, well, she knew this woman who was a cool knight, and she knew a guy, and then eventually they went to meet 2 other knights. It's like
they've got big.
I'm all caught up.
They got very big college friend energy. Her and the other lady have.
Like that. It's like, no way! Oh my god, how have you been? I'm a queen now.
Whoa, good for you! Not jealous. Sorry.
But you get some kind of like origin of your one who's like. I love the fact that she's a knight, like in full armor, but her thing is throwing tiny knives. I think that's a great fucking. It's
very
so good.
Incongruous, yeah.
Yeah, it works. Like, so they have to fight off some bandits, and I'm
going for a tank dex build. Like,
what's your man, the boxy guy? I fucking love that guy. He gets some boxing in. Dorsch gets some. He's like, here, use these punching daggers, and I was like, I didn't need to know the origin of her punching daggers. I just assumed she had punching daggers.
Now,
she borrowed them from Dorsch.
Yeah,
I say I'm not going to watch any more of this, but I realize if they do the episode with all the stuff with the state guy that was cut out,
it looks like they're going to, because I've seen the picture or the images of him in the opening with no mustache, so you know he's younger.
Yeah, so I might go watch that.
Find out it's a cutting two-parter.
That was definitely stuff I was annoyed that wasn't in the actual TV show.
It's just fun extra thing. I like the kind of continuing, like, because we already know from the first season that Hilling, while seems like a fucking hard ass asshole, she's actually like just super empathetic and nice.
Well,
So
again,
but
that's the TV adaptation. That's disappears very quickly
yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
comic.
No, but I mean, like for the purposes of the animation is what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. But like her, I liked her kind of thing of it's just like she revives the bandit leader and it's just like, if you ever commit another crime, your wounds will open. I have made this magic spell in front of God, so it will definitely
Death
happen.
promise is the spell.
Yeah.
Death promise.
And a friend's kind of like, where'd you fucking learn that? I was like, I'm fucking making this shit up. It's like I'm trying to reform this motherfucker, and it's like fucking work though.
Yeah, it's because it was just as the sun was rising.
So it looked real fucking official, like
Yes.
some Gandalf shit. I made the sunrise. It's like that was gonna happen anyway. But if you say death's promise after you heal his open wounds and stuff, it makes it seem more official. So some fun bits like that. You get like Kid Dida and
Queen's that no, she'd be right up there.
You get the Kid Dida. It was like, how did he learn healing magic? And I was like,
that was
like,
very
from,
kind
like,
of kiddie like.
Again, that felt like the kid version of the Ranking of Kings. That part did feel like, yeah.
Say, whoa, but when you do for somebody who we want to do it for, that's when the power will come to you. A real kind of just for younger audiences kind of a thing.
Yeah, which is weird because it opens with a bunch of dudes being stabbed, and then the next episode is so many stabbings. So it's kind of like this isn't really the kids version.
The way it jumps around like that, I don't know why like that little like kid story is reminding me of like a bit of like Babar or something. Because even though it's just like, well, Bodhi looks the exact same when he's any age actually. That's
as big as he's gonna get. Yeah,
he's gonna get. No, it's supposed to be. There's a continuity of how he looks from one era to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got MASHLE, Magic and Muscles, episode 4, Mash Burn Dead and the Challenging Magic User, followed by Mash Burn Dead and the Unpopular Classmate.
Because we got to introduce the rest of the main cast. Yeah.
Yes.
It's starting to pick up a bit now.
Episode 4, we get to meet Lance Crown.
Does this finish the wizard soccer thing, or was that the last? No, that was the end of the
No,
last
it opens this with him.
No, if it finishes that
it
off.
opens with that. Yeah. Okay.
He wows the crowd with his boomeranging curveball that he scores all the points, and also he just does like fucking like Looney Tunes, just like fucking running in the air off the edge of the cliff, but staying in the air.
Yeah, and the whole thing of just like it turns out being fucking jacked as shit is actually very useful in sport. We're in a school where people are generally using magic, and this is the one thing you can't use magic in. Yeah, he excels in the sport. He breaks the clock for the scoreboard.
And then we introduced to Lance. He's also after coins.
Coins mean I don't know, better marks in school. He does not have a thing for a little girl. He's got a thing for his sister. It's different, okay?
Doesn't make it better, as Mash points out. It's like, nope.
I could still be a cool, like, kind of brooding badass and have this. It's different. I'm doing it for my family, for my sister, because I'm what she had growing up. Or rather, our parents are really shitty and they look down on us. And
again, she's getting the magic disease that means your mark is disappearing, which means she'll have to be taken out and shot eventually once her magic disappears. Seems to be the way this universe works. And he's like, if I become like one of the leaders of the magic world, I can make sure that won't happen. And also, I'm going to do it so he's legitimate reasons, but he does it like a creep. So,
we'll say if you read or watch Black Clover, he's not as much of a creep as Gauche. So he is an improvement over Gauche.
Yeah, because he's comedy, like you laugh at him, that kind of thing. Yeah.
I think Gauche is supposed to be comedy as well, but it just doesn't land.
Yeah, I go throw his bottle over a cliff, Mash. You might my best in my gravity magic, but you can't run that fast on a cliff and catch a ball for a bread, and my friends are killed. Oh wait, he can.
Yes, he casts the spell Big Bang Dash.
Yeah, it's a it's crap. What is it? It's a calves magic spell. It's based on that muscle group or something.
Engage your core.
And Mash is like, my friends weren't even in this Pokemon bottle. Like that was a fake one you threw down. You weren't going to kill anyone. You're not a bad guy. I'm not going to beat you up. It's like, very well, Mash, you win this time, but next time we meet, I'll be taking those coins. And it's like, absolutely not. You're one of the supporting characters now. Sorry, Lance. That's how it works.
Yep, you showed up with one saying, "Hey, you two nerds, throw a potion, sir. I hate to be you." Anyways, here's how you do it. And you're a nice guy.
So we get a bit of how to deal with a mandragora, which is I think I've seen in so many fantasy things, and is generally always funny. Because a screaming turnip is just funny, I guess, inherently.
Yes. No, it feels more like a screaming radish in
more like
or
a
screaming
radish. Yeah.
daikon in this case.
Mm.
And yes, the
Regardless,
hilarious.
there's a lot of background screaming that the voice actors did a wonderful job.
Yes. Obviously, Mash can't subdue his using magic, so he just ends up annoying it until it's huge and then slaps it unconscious.
I did it.
And favorite gag is whenever he tries to make the potion, he makes cream puff, even when Lance is looking at him doing it.
All right, I'm going to walk you through it. All right, chop it up. All right, chop it up. All right,
boil it.
now
Okay.
Boil it. Yeah. You boil it. Okay. Now add in the secret ingredient. And the secret ingredient is cream puff. It's like, how the...
Again, it's essentially the same joke which was in Vampire Dies in No Time.
It's a good joke.
The other season.
They do taste good though, so that's good.
Anyways, we have to go and because this is like a shonen manga or parody thereof. It has to be a student exam held in the Forbidden Forest of terrors and monsters.
Also, because it's a shonen anime that involves fighting, but as a parody of it, we have to have a delinquent type character show up and be really cool and tough. Except he is not.
Is he? He's more of an incel than a delinquent.
I think he's going for delinquent, but he is an incel. Yes.
Yes. We also briefly check in on a genuine villain with a group who is hugging a baby doll.
Like goddamn Lang House, think they're so great. That's put all the evil kids, and they're right. Like, yes, go forth and take all of the coins from all of the other classes and bring them here.
One of their house things is about like they're not goal oriented. It's put it a lot worse. They crave power, that kind of thing.
Yes, but you put all the main characters in Adler House. You put all the secondary main characters, no fun. Who would be the main characters if these other guys weren't here, but they haven't got enough personality in the Orca House. And now put all the villains in Lang House.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it in the books.
So while our I was going to say Lolicon, our Sissy-con guy is he has legitimate reasons for wanting to gain the coins and therefore become a divine visionary and stuff. Our Dot's reasoning is, I want to kill all hot guys so I can get a girlfriend. It can't all be good reasons for wanting to be the best that no one ever was. Oh
well. And then he gets charmed by another girl in school, Lauren Cabas, who has an enchantment spell. Which
I'm not even sure she needed to do the spell, honestly.
Well, she isn't either. She does comment that she's not sure she needed the spell. However, the spell does not work on Mash.
It's like, oh, thank you for helping me as well, brave sir, from that evil bully in this evil forest. And Mash is like, I didn't do anything.
You're welcome.
It's like, cast the spell more. It's like, I said I didn't help you. Go away.
Try and enjoy my creep puffs over here.
And then the guy who'd been bullying them earlier when they started this, because they're on a task where they've got to go and hunt a bunch of magic scorpions. Some are worth copper
gems
coins,
out of their head, which are worth coins.
But there's a few worth silver. And they get bullied by a guy called Silver Iron, who has been kept down a year. For being
he should be a second year, but he
is a delinquent. He is definitely
a delinquent. He's an actual delinquent.
Well, they haven't explained the stripes yet, have they?
No, they did. They
wrote Lance. It's a double liner. And that's guy was guilty for saying, did I take all of the magic if I know, but I should have shared my sister and I took it off myself. I'm so guilty. Yeah. So it's as soon as you see that guy with the two lines on his face, you're like, oh, so the reason he hasn't been kicked out of school is because he has a bunch of magic power. He's just crap at the whole education part.
Yes.
And lots of fireballs, though, explosions. Looks pretty good. You know, he blew him up well good. If only he didn't encase himself in a shell of iron, and would have pretty good movie pull there, Dot. But second banana. No, Mash has got fucking beef with this dude because he fucking was talking shit about him before the exam started.
No, nothing to do with that. It's because he knocked his cream puff out of his hand that he was currently eating.
At the end.
That's the
That's
reason.
the only reason. Yes, because he thought he was going to start it with silver, and then he realized, oh no, the cream puff's fine. And then Lance
He
tells
throws
him
him a look. He's like, "You fucking hit me with a piece of iron, ejecting it out of the ground." He's like, "Oh, thank goodness, my cream puff is fine." And Lance is like, "Dude, put it in a bag or something. Just don't put it in your jacket pocket. What are you doing? That's disgusting."
But yes, the cliffhanger is that his cream puff has been damaged.
He's just standing there while Dot's getting the shit knocked out of him. The custard is still like dripping down his cheek, and he's just speechless. Poor Dot getting fucking beaten to put it in front of his eyes. But it's
That
like,
bit of custard on his
enough.
the bit of custard on his cheek is like blood has been spilled this day. It's that kind of situation, basically. Yeah. So I assume we're going to see this guy immediately get fucking mashed. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mash is such a great character.
It's picking up a bit now. We have the quality of the cast to bounce off of again, and it picked up a bit of kind of looks wise when Dots does fucking spamming fireballs at the dude and blowing him up. And, oh yes, okay. If we could, this kind of promise you kind of showing in the opening is kind of coming to bear, because we know there's going to be some kind of in the comics some pretty big kind of action sequences, but because while it's a comedy, it does still want to have some kind of good action bits as well.
And it sounds like a Siscon should be an unlikable character. He is the likable character. Dot is a fairly unlikable character, but he has some of the best faces, and he shows it off in this episode. So he's got some good reaction faces that would be very funny. Yeah.
Also, Lemon is there occasionally.
That's Lemon. Hey.
She's the leader of the gang. She's leading them in the song. God damn that end credit song. It gets stuck in my head because I don't skip it because this is pretty fun. I want to keep it going.
It's pretty good.
They're at a pace of about 3 chapters an episode now. So
that's about the right way to go.
Which is about the ideal pace, I think, for these sort of things. Then finally, we've got Birdie Wing, episode 17. The girl who regained her lost memories returns home and learns a new truth. And episode 18, A Farewell to Lies.
Dana was back from holiday and she said, whoa, I was getting out when I was gone.
The prior 16 and 17 are kind of like very light novel titles. Birdie Wing, I need you to tighten it up. 18 is pulling it back together. That's fine. 4 words.
At least do a two-way style and have like fun. Word, exclamation mark, word, exclamation mark, question mark.
Because then you got like a police squad type situation where you can call it either thing and you're fine. That's grand.
So in episode 17, she's lost memories previous.
She's deported.
She's essentially deported.
She's half kidnapped and well, it's like, hey, where are you taking me? It's like, I knocked you out and I'm taking you to the airport. She's like, I could just kick your ass and walk back to school. And he's like, no, here's the reason why you can't do that. It's like, oh,
that girl you'll ruin her career if you do that. It's like, well,
if he talked to her reasonably, he wouldn't have had to get the shit kicked out of him. So it's a pity he didn't do that first. Yeah.
What's great about that, Eve at being deported, is just that she's not even just like, kind of stricken with woe and grief. Like, oh, we tend to be fun. She's just fun saying, oh, it's on. Oh, I'm coming back. It's on. It's on. They don't even know it's on.
So all I got to do is go home, not get killed by the mafia, turn pro, and then I can play her in golf. Perfect. It's the easiest fucking thing to do.
Yes. So I'll get that snake-named lady to pick me up from the airport. So Viper has now got a new look. I love that she's settled down with the guy.
Yep.
She's like my favorite character in the fucking show. She's great.
Men in Black. Yeah.
And they're just living their happiest fucking life, and they're just like, are you gonna pull us into the mafia shit again? Because they have a hit on me as well. It's like, just a little bit. We're just gonna pull you in a little bit to the mafia shit where they might kill you again.
The way I describe it out is she's dressed like your mum's friend when you were younger, who you might call auntie, but isn't really your auntie.
Yeah.
It's kind of how she's dressed nowadays.
She's dressed nicely, but she is dressed like rather flamboyantly to the point where I think it's in the next episode, but the caddy looks at her and is like, oh, this is a criminal. All these people are criminals. I'm panicking now. Other than that, she's a nice lady.
Where Mum's grave bumps into the family butler,
The family butler who was also visiting that day to drop off some flowers is like, oh, your father told me a secret before he died to the goblin glider. And it's just like, it's very much that kind of situation of the butler is like, I know all the secrets.
Yes,
but I won't tell anyone.
Your mum was also a golf professional, so that's why.
Your mum was also a golf professional. Also, she was a golf professional in the extra higher mafia that's a mafia above the mafia that has a hit out for you.
A rival golf company.
As a legitimate business, yeah.
They owe his family. So so we're thinking that she's connected to the mafia was based on the fake name she was using. That's connected to a mafia company with her real name. She's also connected to the mafia.
It's like if she had a name that was one of the like other guys in Godfather. It's like, no, her name is Corleone, and it's just like, oh, that's worse actually.
So she doesn't want anything to do with it, but then she decides that she's going to essentially bully her grandfather into sorting out the problem with the Yakuza and making.
Does she know that's her grandfather?
Yes, she does.
Yes,
she knows that. She's off a VP and her boyfriend for instead. He's playing a game right now. He's got like one of the top like players in Women's League from Europe, and you just gotta go out there and humiliate her to show like your granddad you mean business. And
the granddad has to pretend he doesn't know her, but he's actually figured it all out as well. So
that's golf swing, of course. It can only be her.
So she's like, this professional golfer is like, all right, I tell you what, company guy, I'll give you a handicap. And he's like, oh, I guess you have to. I used to be a pretty good golfer back in the day, but I can't beat a pro. And then a rogue girl comes out of the bushes with her golf club. Is like, I'll challenge you to golf. And he's like, what's this? I'll allow it.
Yes, if I win, you've got
to help me become a pro. Put your 50p on the side of it, and then you call this go. That's how it works. I don't care.
Yeah. If I win this golf game, you have to help me be a pro as soon as possible.
Well, it looks like you won. I guess I gotta help you now.
Yes. Also, we found this lady in the bush. Oh, she's with me. Because Viper was observing this from inside a bush. And the second half is in episode 18. Granddad's like, okay, I'm not going to sort out the beef you've got with Catherine, but I can arrange you to sort out the beef you've got.
You to sort it out, and then if you sort that out and are not killed immediately by losing, because that's what's on the line here. If you win, you live. If you lose, she murders you on the fucking spot. That's how this works. That's how we do it in the golf mafia. But if that's the case, I'll support you to be a professional golfer. You'll be obviously using our gear when you're professional, because we're still a legitimate business. Wink, wink, wink. But then you'll get to play actual golf against the one girl in the world who you do want to play golf against. So it all works out.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Ichida's handed in her papers, and she's flying to the Fries because she knows how to speak English.
I like her waking up at the end of the last episode is like, she's been kicked out of school. I gotta leave school, but officially handing in her resignation to the school. And he's like, are you sure you want to do this? It's like, yes.
Bad gender club.
Yeah. I need to I think she declares her love in many ways over the course of the episodes, but she's going to golf with her for not just for her golf career, but for life or something like that is the way she keeps saying it.
Yeah, and Amber Ray's like speaking to Sarah, who's not there. It's like, well, this is the least we can do for the girl is to let Ichida go to fake England to be her caddy, which she does, and then gets dragged immediately into a Yakuza death match. Yeah.
Eve walks into the room and Catherine immediately pulls out a gun and points it at her head. It's like, you get your foot down. No. Settle it on the links, ladies. That's the agreement right here. And then she's like, Eve, a little bastard from foot.
Yeah, Eve is doing the finger guns despite having a gun pointed at her not minutes ago. And your one's kind of like, I've studied all the courses in this country. So, like, what course are we going to? Don't worry, it's a secret underground bunker that randomizes the golf course with a fucking bizarre fucking device. And she's like, I played here twice before. It's like, what have I put myself into? Because this is bad right now.
So Catherine's hired. Oh, what's her name? It's
not quite
a ringer.
Yes, but I can't remember her fake English name.
God, but she's the top, one of the top underground golfers in America, but also a professional golfer in America so she can look like she's playing legitimately, but
Yes.
actually cheat.
But when Eve mentions her rainbow shots, she's like, Catherine, I need twice as much money as you're paying me, because this is going to be a lot harder than I thought it was. I'm going to have to break out my special abilities.
$1 million, it's going to cost you $2 million for this fucking game. All right, it's a one whole game, so you know it's going to be one and done and not go to sudden death like it immediately fucking does.
Yeah. But Romelda plays dirty by saying, oops, I hit my shot into the bunker. Silly me. Whoopsie. Oh, well, gotta put this bunker shot and let's chip it in. Oh, clumsy me while getting my ball in the bunker. I have fun, put sand all over the hole. Well, play it as it lies, Eve. Come on.
And meanwhile, Eve and Ashina are going, this is bullshit. This is bullshit, boring Yakuza golf. We want to be playing proper golf. Let's get this over and done with.
With none of these fucking tricks, none of this, like when it's like I saw her fucking sprinkle soapstone into the sand so it'd be extra slippier, and I was just like, because initially when I saw her doing it, I was like, did she poison the sand? And it was because that's the kind of thing I expect now with this fucking show. But they're just like, and she's having flashbacks to when she was being trained by your man. Is like, you suck at golf, you're bad at golf, your golf is stupid, and it's all a facade. And her on stage pretending to be a golfer, wearing the white happy stage mask. Cheap tricks. You one day you'll be destroyed by real golf.
You come in once to deceive and undermine your opponent. You gotta be ready to kill your opponent in golf. You haven't got that instinct in you. You can't pull that trigger. That's why you will fail. That's why you will lose.
Yeah.
And that's where the second hole for instant death, and she places it right beside the water hazard. It's like, that's the perfect place to be. And Eve's like, there's one space better than that. Yes. You didn't see my last bullet, did you, Caddy?
Yeah.
It is the indigo bullet.
It is.
The water dragon indigo bullet. It skims it across the water. When she commands it to skip across the water.
Yes. Yeah. Destroyed another woman. Let's go play real golf.
No, the fucking coup de grace for saying, I get my fucking life back now. This is the fucking end of it. Ball gets in the hole. Catherine, you listen up there. This one's for you. Whoosh. Then Catherine's there. Like a fucking go-go 13 is fucking call her out, fucking shatters the fucking bulletproof glass one, saying, I'm out of this business. I'm going legit. I'm going straight. It's had everything. It was fucking high drama, new special moves, fucking like dead golf to the death, wily and vicious opponent.
You'd think I'd be sick of the underground golf bunker, but I was not. And it was good to bring it back and introduce a new character going like, what the fuck? You know, because it is what the fuck. But like Eve said, we've seen it twice already now, so it's not as shocking.
I think we also learned like Ashina's like, I can't remember if this was mentioned before, that she's like a year old. She's older than Eve is when they're
because
when Viper
she
meets
Viper and everything at the airport, and Eve can't remember anyone's name.
She just loves winding people up. I get it now.
Yeah, Viper's like, is that a small child from Japan you've brought? And it's just like, no, I'm actually, you're older than Eve? What the fuck?
60, yeah. Yeah, that's a rightly tick, because that comes up in Valkyrie Drive Mermaid as well. Someone can't believe that another character's younger than them.
The more worldly and composed one.
The more Western-looking character, the more Japanese-looking character is surprised that they're actually younger than they are. It's. I was like, there's a writer's tick. I wonder how often he uses that across all his stories.
Yeah.
All of them. Wow.
Quite possibly, because they have to write a lot of scripts, him and his mate. That's it for this week. Is Kamui back next week?
It should be, but I didn't check and see if it's come up already.
It's always been.
It hasn't come up already. I did check that.
Oh yeah. Again, the thing that confused me on Crunchyroll this time was it's all as season 1. I was like, how do I get to season? Yeah.
Let's check the dates on the Wikipedia page. May 15th. So it won't be for next week's episode. It'll be for the following week's episode.
Well, we're down like 2 things off the slates. So Uncle is like, Uncle was put down the he's probably gonna have to play some Sega software. We can't show us stories at the moment right now.
Yeah, I did like the last shot, and it was a shot of the Mega Drive and the Sega Saturn. It's just like, we'll be back for more adventures. I was like, maybe this time he'll play Nights into Dreams. We'll see. Yeah.
Christmas nights. Go back to a special.
They definitely have someone dressed in a Christmas costume, so that you mightn't be far wrong with that. Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna have no Detective Hanzawa. Not that that ate up too much of my time each week.
Yeah, but it's always a short things. I forget to watch because they are short. They get lost behind the couch sometimes. I forget to retrieve them.
So we're back next week with more of the same. Actually, less of the same.
Less.
About the same amount? I don't know. It feels about the same amount, ultimately.
You'll feel it. Radio, we'll be back then. Ta-ta for now.
Yeah.